The moment I let go of it was the moment I got more than I could handle. Jim Carrey's words might surprise you, but they hold a powerful truth many of us miss. Have you ever felt overwhelmed, trying to control everything in your life? It's exhausting, right? But what if letting go is the key to unlocking everything you've been searching for? Today, we're going to explore this mind-blowing idea together, because once you understand this, it could completely transform how you handle life's challenges. Ready to dive in and discover what Jim was really talking about? Hey everyone, it's Damon. You know that feeling when everything's spinning out of control? It's like trying to catch water with a net, right? We've all been there, desperately trying to keep all the plates spinning. But why are we so obsessed with being in charge all the time? We live in a world that's all about control. We've got apps to track our steps, our sleep, our spending, you name it. It's like we're trying to micromanage every little part of our lives. But the more we try to control things, the more stressed out we get. Picture this. You're juggling work, family, bills, and trying to squeeze in some me time. Everything's going okay, and then bam, life throws you a curveball. Maybe it's a sudden health scare, or your car breaking down at the worst possible moment. Suddenly, all that control you thought you had, it's gone in an instant. Here's something wild. Studies show that people who always need to be in control are way more likely to suffer from anxiety. The more we try to grip onto everything, the more anxious we become. It's like we're all running on this giant hamster wheel, thinking we're getting somewhere, but really, we're just exhausting ourselves. But here's where it gets interesting. All that control we think we have, it's just an illusion. We can plan and organize all we want, but life has a funny way of doing its own thing. And you know what? That's okay. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, are you saying I should just give up and let everything fall apart? Not at all. In fact, what if I told you that letting go could actually give you more power? I remember talking to a friend who was going through a tough time. She was trying to manage everything. Her job, her kids, her marriage, and she was falling apart. One day, she just broke down and said, I can't do this anymore. And you know what? That was the best thing that could have happened to her. She started to let go, to trust that things would work out, even if they didn't go exactly as planned. And you know what happened? Her whole life changed. She was happier, more relaxed, and ironically, things started going more smoothly than ever before. Now I get it. Letting go is scary. It feels like jumping off a cliff without a parachute. But what if that cliff is actually just a small step, and there's a soft landing waiting for you? What if letting go isn't about giving up, but about opening yourself up to something amazing? So here's my challenge to you. What's one thing you can let go of today? Maybe it's the need to have a perfect house, or the pressure to say yes to every request. Whatever it is, try loosening your grip just a little bit. You might be surprised at how much lighter you feel. Stick around, because we're about to get into the good stuff. You know that friend who's always so calm, even when life's throwing curveballs? Ever wonder what their secret is? Well, get ready, because we're about to dive into something amazing. It's called surrendering to God, and it's not what you might think. Picture this. You're in a boat during a storm. You're paddling like crazy, trying to control where you're going. Exhausting, right? Now imagine instead of fighting, you let a skilled navigator guide you through the current. That's what surrendering to God is like. It's not about being weak. It's about tapping into a strength way bigger than ourselves. Most people get this surrender thing all wrong. They think it means giving up. But it's more like finally taking a deep breath after holding it for way too long. It's trusting there's a bigger plan, even when we can't see it. There's this guy, Dr. David Hawkins, who says something pretty cool about this. He talks about how we're like hamsters on a wheel, always running from pain and inner turmoil. But when we surrender to God, it's like stepping off that wheel. Suddenly, we're not carrying the weight of the world anymore. Now this surrender thing, it's not always easy. It can be one of the toughest things we ever do. It's like an internal wrestling match, letting go of our need to control everything. But the people who manage to do it, they feel more at peace and way less anxious. Remember Joseph from the Bible? Talk about someone who had every reason to be stressed. His brothers sold him into slavery. He got thrown in prison for something he didn't do. It was a mess. But instead of getting bitter, Joseph trusted God's plan. He went from being in chains to becoming one of the most powerful men in Egypt, saving countless lives. Imagine looking at your trials like Joseph did, seeing them as part of a bigger picture. What if, instead of fighting the current, you trusted it was taking you exactly where you need to go? This is where real freedom comes in. When we surrender to God, we're not losing control. We're gaining a whole new kind of freedom. It's like we've been carrying this heavy backpack our whole lives, and suddenly someone stronger offers to carry it for us. We're still on the journey, but now we're free to enjoy the view instead of being weighed down. So are you ready to try something that could change everything? It might just be the secret to finding that calm in the storm you've been looking for. Alright, let's talk about something that might just change your life. You know how we just dropped that heavy backpack of control? Well, now it's time to pick up the phone and make a call. But not just any call. We're talking about a direct line to the one who's now carrying that weight for us. That's right, we're diving into prayer. Have you ever felt like your prayers weren't getting through? Like you're trying to tune into a radio station, but all you're getting is static? Well, here's the thing. Prayer isn't just about talking. It's a two-way conversation with the creator of the universe. It's about tuning in and really listening. And get this, people who pray regularly actually report lower levels of stress and anxiety. And it's like tapping into this incredible source of peace that's been there all along. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great, but how do I actually do this? Well, I've got some game-changing tips for you. First, set clear intentions. Before you start praying, take a moment to really think about what you want to say. Next, make it personal. Talk to God like you talk to a close friend. Share your fears, your hopes, your dreams. Here's something that's been a real game changer for so many people. Try journaling about your prayer experiences. Start small, maybe just one sentence a day. You might be surprised at the patterns you start to see, the ways your prayers are being answered that you might have missed otherwise. But here's the thing, prayer isn't just about asking for help. It's about being open to God's guidance. It's like you're not just leaving a message, you're waiting for a response. And when you start approaching prayer this way, it can lead to some pretty incredible changes in your life. Incorporating silent reflection into your prayer time can be incredibly powerful. It's in those quiet moments that you might just hear that still small voice speaking to your heart. And don't worry if you don't hear anything right away. Sometimes it's about creating space for God to work in ways you might not even realize. You know what's really wild? The act of surrendering in prayer, just laying it all out there, can actually lead to a stronger relationship with God. And with that comes this incredible sense of peace. It's like you're tapping into this wellspring of calm that's been there all along, just waiting for you to discover it. So here's my challenge to you. Start small. Set aside just 5 minutes a day to talk to God. Be honest, be real, and most importantly, be open to listening. You might just be amazed at what you hear. Okay, so you've got the basics down. Now let's dive into a technique that can transform your prayer life. It's like discovering a hidden treasure, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Let's break down this surrendering through prayer thing into steps you can actually use. I've got some practical tips that are going to change everything for you. Here's how to take your prayer life to the next level. Start your day with a letting go ritual. Imagine waking up and before checking your phone, you take a moment to say, God, I give this day to you. It sets the tone for your entire day. Try praying without asking for anything. Just listen. It might feel strange at first, but it's incredible. Take a few minutes to sit in silence. You'll be amazed at what you hear when you're not doing all the talking. Use breath prayers. It's a cool technique where you pair a short prayer with your breathing. Inhale and think, Lord, I trust you. Then exhale with, help me let go. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Write it down. Keeping a prayer journal helps you see how God's working in your life. It's like having a record of your spiritual journey. Each of these steps builds on the last, creating a powerful prayer practice. As you move from letting go to listening, you open yourself up to God's voice. Then, breath prayers keep you connected throughout the day, and journaling helps you reflect on it all. Now you might be wondering, what if I try all this and nothing happens? Remember, it's not about perfection, but about being persistent and open. God's not looking for a polished performance. He just wants your heart. When you make prayer a habit, you're walking with God. It's like having a constant companion, someone who's always there to listen, guide, and support you. And that changes everything. But here's the real question. How do you keep this up when life gets tough? When you're stressed, scared, or just plain exhausted? That's where the real power of prayer comes in. It's in those moments when we feel like we're at the end of our rope that prayer can become our lifeline. It's not about having the right words. It's about being real with God, even if that means just sitting in silence or crying out in frustration. And you know what? That's exactly what God wants from us. He wants us to come to Him as we are, messy and imperfect, because it's in those raw, honest moments that we can truly experience His love and peace. So, are you ready to take your prayer life to the next level? Trust me, it's going to be amazing. Let's do this together. Hey, you know what? We've been on quite a journey together, and I've got some amazing news for you. You've had the key to peace all along. It's like having a direct hotline to tranquility, right there in your pocket. Remember that verse from Philippians? Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. It's like a recipe for peace in our hectic world. Imagine swapping your worries for a calm mind just by talking to God. So, here's my challenge for you. Take a moment right now to reflect on what's weighing you down. Then, try presenting it to God with thankfulness. Are you ready to step into the freedom that's waiting for you? Trust me, it's a game changer. Stay blessed by the best.